Alright, so what is up, everyone? Today, we're going to be talking about Survivor Millennials vs. Gen X, Episode 3. I'm here with Nate, obviously the Survivor expert right here. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
I mean, we got not one blindside, but now we got two blindsides.
We got two, and it was a great blindside, I might add. Like, I am over the moon right now. The fact that Paul's gone just opens up so many things on the Gen X tribe.
I know. Oh my god. I was so happy that happened.
Oh my gosh. Like, honestly, though, I'm more excited about like what options that David and Ken now have because of the fact that Paul's gone. I mean, Jessica's now open. We're seeing that Lucy might be in trouble next week. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, this is great.
All right, so let's just jump right into the episode. So the episode ends off with obviously it was Zeke and was it Scott? Is that it? Adam. Oh my god, it was like all right. So Adam and Zeke, they're pissed off kind of because they were on the outs and they didn't really know that Figgy was safe. They thought that Figgy was leaving, and obviously that didn't happen. And then we have Hannah come over, and Hannah's like, I didn't know, blah, blah, blah. And Zeke's like, just go away, go away, go away.
And she just keeps on talking. And it's like, I think Hannah might have this thing where she really just wants people to like her and be okay around her. And like, we kind of saw that in the first and second episodes, especially during that whole situation with Mari getting voted out at Tribal. So I think that might be the case with Hannah. We might see that in the future. But like in confessional, she's no problem with railing on people. I mean, there's this one floating around where she's just roasting Figgy, and it's fantastic. Yeah. But it's just like Hannah, I think just in person, she just wants to belong. And like that's a hard thing to do in Survivor. Like, she's not giving herself a lot of flexibility. So
Okay, so yeah, Hannah just kind of seems like she's trying to fit in with a selective group of people, and I think she's doing a pretty okay job with that. A little bit.
Miraculously, she's still in the middle, and she's not on anybody's radar, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's just because Figgy's target is just so big at this point. Anyone else is just out of the question right now. Yeah. So I think at this point, I think even Will and Michelle might even be considering like maybe we should take Figgy out. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the whatchamacallit? The rocks, was it?
The summit. That's what it was.
The summit, yeah. So how many? There was 4 people from each tribe, or was it 5?
Yeah, it was 4 people from each tribe. The Millennials, Figgy lugged out. I'll say that right away. Yeah. Like, she got so lucky with that summit, because if it had been anyone else, like if it had been Zeke, Adam, or Michaela, that would not have been good, because that meant people that she didn't trust were getting information that she would have wanted to keep. So Figgy, I think it was Figgy, Taylor, Jay, and was it Michelle? I'm not sure if Michelle was the 4th.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was Michelle either.
Yeah. Whoever the 4th one was, I can't remember, but I don't think it honestly mattered. Honestly, it was Taylor and Figgy that were more important, because they were the ones getting the information from David.
Was it Justin, maybe? No, it was, I think it was
Will. It was Will. No, it was Will.
It was Will, okay.
Yeah, it was Will. And Will didn't do too much. I think it was just like to the point where he was just going out and just talking and hanging out with them, with Paul especially. And then David and Cece took that moment. And I honestly think this was a bad move for David.
You think so? I don't think. I disagree, but go on.
It's a bad move. Typically, when you do a switch, you're going to want to wait until that switch in order to give up any information, because if you give it away too early and you end up being in a switch that's not good for you, you're just making your position in the game worse. I mean, we've seen this before in Token Teams. When the Exile Island Alliance between Steven, I think it was Tosh. I think I'm wrong on that. I think I'm wrong on her name. And then Brendan and Sierra, those 4. And they had this whole thing going, and then it just blew up, and Brendan and Sierra were on the bottom very quickly as soon as the merge came around. So it was just, it wasn't good. for David to give up that information so readily, I think that might come back to bite him. Thankfully, he's the idol, but it's just...
That's what I was about to say. Like, because he has power, it seems like he's going to try to he has his power to save himself. So now he's going to try to, align himself because he knows the switch is going to happen eventually. So he has to make sure he's planted in certain spots. And the only person that knows about the idol is Ken. And does Cece know about the idol?
Based off of the show and based off of what they've been showing on YouTube, no. Cece's very much in the dark. She's the third wheel in that alliance. She's really only with them because Cece has nowhere else to go. So it's like, if a switch were to come around and Cece went, I don't think David or Ken are gonna like be too upset about it.
Right, 100%. So I feel like David has like that. I don't want to say that tie position, but like definitely has the power, and I don't think anyone's gonna vote him out anytime soon.
I don't think anytime soon. I think he'll at least get to a switch, and then we'll see what happens, especially now that he's already planning for it. If Cece were a better player, she would have like taken that in and like maybe like she might have taken that in and might hold on to it to use against David later. But I don't think Cece has the game smarts to do that, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about the competition. So talk about the competition. What is it about? And we'll go from there.
Okay, so basically it's a relay style race where they have to like go under a bunch of logs while dragging 40 pounds of coconuts and sandbags, and then they have to carry those bags across a balance beam. If a person can't do it, they can hand the bag off to another person to have them go through it again, but that person still needs to go across the balance beam. After that, untie the bags and separate the coconuts and the sandbags, and then they break down a puzzle wall. And then the two people who haven't been in the challenge yet, they come in and then they solve the puzzle. And it's a very simple challenge. I mean, that puzzle is straight up the same one from Survivor Cagayan. But as soon as there's a puzzle, as soon as we know there's a puzzle, we know the millennials are probably going to win. They just need to stay with Gen X, and once they get to the puzzle, they'll probably take it because they're just better at it. Yeah. And as soon as I saw that they put David on it, I'm like, oh yeah, they're screwed.
Yeah, I don't understand that either because like we've seen David do the puzzle before and he do good at it.
Yeah.
So why make him do it again?
Like clearly Sunday and Jessica, who's half blind, is better than David at a puzzle. Yeah. So it's just like, how? Yeah. Why put David back in? So like, I don't know.
Yeah, so obviously we find out that Millennials, they won. They won by like a well, I don't want to say a landslide, but obviously we kind of figured they were going to win.
It was a sizable lead, yeah.
Yeah, a sizable lead. That's a good way of putting it. So we know that Cece is like the big target now because she didn't really do good at the balance beam. And when we're watching this episode, we're just like, yeah, Cece's going, that's it. But
Paul also struggled on the challenge. Like Cece only really struggled on the balance beam, and for the rest of the challenge, Cece was fine. I mean, if I just rewatched the thing, Paul was struggling to get under those logs. He was having a hard time, and then he also couldn't complete the balance beam without the 40 pounds. And on top of that, Ken is just getting more and more frustrated with Paul and how he's being treated, basically like how they would see a millennial. It's like, oh, it's okay. Like, you didn't complete it. You're fine. Like, you're going to be just okay. You can stay our leader. And it's frustrating the hell out of Ken because he's the one doing the work. And oh my gosh. And the fact, I think really what it came down to was just Paul shooting himself in the foot.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's pretty much what it was. In an interview afterwards on CBS.com, Paul said that like he had tried to make up with Jessica and said that like he had realized he had slipped up and said the wrong thing, but by the time he had gone back, he had backtracked, the damage was done, and he didn't know it at the time, but the damage had been done and he was gone. So yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the vote now because even before the vote, the girls decide to flip against the 6-person alliance. And I mean, this is pretty risky at this point because numbers are huge, especially with your tribe. So,
Yeah.
do you think that them flipping on Paul now rather than keeping him for a number was a good move or a bad move?
I think we'll see the challenge tomorrow. If they lose the challenge, I think it would have been better to get rid of Cece, because then the girls could still flip. But in terms of timing, I think that was probably going to be one of the last chances until after the merge that they were going to be able to get rid of Paul.
Yeah.
Paul was still going to be somebody. I mean, like the millennials, I think, seemed to like him, especially at the summit. And it was just like he was very well received there. So I don't think if Paul had made it to a switch, I think he might have lasted longer. I think it would have been similar to like a Marty situation in Nicaragua where he was on top and then a switch comes, he's on the bottom, but they still like him enough to keep him towards the merge. So it's just, I think that's would have been a case. But if they were going to take out Paul to try to change up the game, now is the time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was like, might as well just get this big person out while they can, instead of just waiting. But it comes down to now we have Sunday. What is it? Sunday, Jessica, and
Lucy.
Lucy. So it's like those.
We now know is alive because she talked today.
Yeah. But now those three, are they gonna go with well, obviously they're not gonna. They don't have good relationships with Chris and David. What's the other guy's name?
Chris and Brett. Yeah, Chris and
Brett.
Like,
yeah.
It's like 2 and 3, and technically they have a 6 with Cece, Ken, and David now, and now Brett and Chris are on the bottom. But Brett and Chris are their main workhorses for the challenges. So if they want to keep losing challenges, they can, and they still have people that they can get out. But these are still people that they might be able to work with in the future. I mean, Brett and Chris don't really have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
I think they've been the most outspoken in terms of not liking the millennials. So I think that's somebody you want to keep around. And plain old being a target. And yeah, just in general, like I don't think that they're gonna get rid of Brett and Chris. I think Cece and Lucy are probably gonna be on the chopping block just based off the preview and the fact that Cece's just god awful challenges. So
yeah. All right. So it seems like now that millennials. Let's talk about millennials for a bit because we didn't really talk about them too much. Do you feel like because a lot of people are talking about Taylor and Figgy, and let's talk about those two. So they're a duo, and it seems like they have like an influence over like their group kind of, but do you think that people are going to realize that keeping Taylor and Figgy may be a bad option, or do they?
I think Figgy is starting to slowly get on people's nerves a little bit. People on Twitter are comparing her to like Parvati, like she's pretty, she's controlling the guys. When in reality, she's kind of a brat. Like she just wants the attention. She's not really doing anything with it, and that's where she's not Parvati. Like she's not good at the game. Her social game clearly is rubbing people the wrong way. I mean, Michaela already doesn't like her. We know Hannah doesn't really like her either. Adam and Zeke are on the bottom, and they're sure as hell not going with them because they already got screwed over by them. And now we're just kind of waiting for Will or Michelle to flip because they're the ones that are like still in that 5, but they're in the middle between the two sides. Yeah. So it's
All right. Is there anything we have to say before we wrap this interview up?
It'll be interesting to see how Gen X works next week because now they're finally starting to play more new school Survivor. Like this season, one thing I have to say is that it's felt a lot like old school, middle school, like pre-season 20. The game's a little slower, which I think is way more entertaining. You're getting to know people a little bit better, which is fantastic. Rather than just strategy and people are voting people out based off of just more personal reasons. Or like this is the status quo, which was a big thing in like seasons 10 to 19. But like, it's very interesting what the dynamics are going to be going forward. I think the millennials are starting to hit the point where Gen Xers were last week. So we'll see if they lose, we'll see what happens with them. And hopefully they'll start like breaking that status quo, and that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like this is a really like pretty good season, to be honest with you, because you don't expect what's going to go on. There's lots of flipping that happens, and that's what's great about this, because it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like an expected vote.
Oh yeah, it's this season. This cast is amazing. I love this cast so much. And the fact that they're like post second chance, where they got to see second chance and then let that influence their game, that makes it even more interesting, because now they've seen that and they're like, okay, this is how we can play. So like, oh, I can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that wraps up this Survivor after show. So Nate, where can everyone find you? And let's just end this thing up, I guess.
I'm on Twitter at Hatzmania, HATZ Mania, and yeah, that's about it. So yep. Thanks for having me on again, man.
Yeah. Until next time, guys, we're gonna be talking about Survivor again next week. All right. So see you guys. Yay.